Hello, let me ask you an honest question. Did anyone actually teach you how to handle money? Or did you grow up watching money control people's decisions and emotions? Most of us were not taught money. We absorbed it. We absorbed fear. We absorbed pressure. We absorbed manage it till month end. And now as an adult, we're wondering why money feels heavy, even when we earn more. Here's the hard truth. Most people don't like hearing. Motivation won't fix your finances. You can be inspired today and still make the same money mistakes tomorrow. Why? Because money problems are rarely knowledge problems. They are identity and system problems. That's why I created the Money Click program. Not to teach people how to hustle harder, but to help you understand why you do what you do with money. So have you ever wondered why you keep making the same money mistakes, even after reading books, attending seminars, and learning about budgeting and so much more? Maybe you've promised yourself countless times that, oh, this month I'll save, this year I'll invest, this time I'll be more disciplined. Yet somehow you end up repeating the same cycle. What if your problem isn't lack of financial knowledge? What if it's unresolved financial trauma? Financial trauma occurs when painful money experiences create emotional wounds that continue to influence your financial decisions even years later. Perhaps you grew up in a home where there was never enough. Perhaps your parents constantly fought over money. Perhaps you watched the family business collapse. Perhaps you experienced sudden poverty after a period of comfort. That event may have ended, but the emotional impact remained. And today, those experiences may be silently shaping how you earn, how you spend, how you invest, and even discuss money. So many people are trying to solve emotional problems with financial strategies. That's like trying to treat a broken bone with perfume. Until you heal the wound, the symptoms will keep returning. And that is why I created the Healing from Financial Trauma course. Not to teach more budgeting, not to teach more investing, but to help people understand the hidden emotional forces driving their money decisions. Because when healing begins, financial transformation becomes sustainable. If this resonates with you, send us a message. Let's talk about how you can join the Healing from Financial Trauma course. You can just comment healing in the comments. I'll reach out to you with the details. My name is Chukwemeko Idezi and I'm the founder of the Viral Academy. Bye-bye. Yes, until you heal the wound, the symptoms will keep returning. Thank you very much, and welcome to today's Thursday live session with us here in the Naira Academy. Thank you so much, everyone. Let me know if you can hear me, because I can already see Mrs. Ann saying she can't hear anything from our own end. So if you can hear me, please let me know that you can hear me loud and clear so that I'm sure that the audio is good. Thank you and thank you and thank you. Please let me know if you can hear me, anyone, please. Please let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Okay. All right. Okay. Mrs. Ann, you might have to check your volume. So that might be a problem with your own volume. Okay, so thank you so much everyone for being here. Thank you for being here again on this lovely Thursday afternoon. Today, okay, loud and clear. Thank you so much for your responses. So today we want to talk about what children remember most about their parents and money. What sticks in their mind? What is it that children remember the most? Right? When children become adults, there are certain things they don't remember anymore. They usually don't remember how much money their parents earned. They don't remember what their salary was. They don't remember the size of the bank account. They don't remember the price of the house they lived in. They don't remember anything about your money, right? They don't remember anything about your money. They don't remember how much you were spending on them to buy them clothes every Christmas.
They don't remember how much you were spending to pay for their school fees. They don't remember all those things. You know what they remember the most? Is how money felt in their home. That's what they remember. So they remember the arguments. They remember the fear. They remember the generosity. They remember the peace. They remember the stress. They remember the sacrifices. They remember the conversations. They remember the lessons. Do you remember the lessons? Okay, all right. Thank you, ma. Okay, apologies for that. Sorry, we're back. All right. So, so your children don't remember quite a lot of things you think is what they'll remember, right? What they remember is how money felt. That's mostly what your children remember, right? They remember the sacrifices, the stress, the conversations, the lessons, the lessons. So children may forget the numbers, but they rarely forget the emotions attached to the numbers. And most often, those memories often shape their own relationship with money for the rest of their lives. And the same thing happened to a lot of us. A lot of us, what has shaped us today is the fears that we had that money brought to us. What has shaped us today is the generosity that we saw growing up, the stress, the sacrifices have shaped some of us today. The conversations we had have shaped some of us today. The lessons we learned or did not learn have also shaped some of us today. So, what are those things? Let's look at those key things that children remember most about money. Number one is they remember how you reacted to financial problems, right? So, you need to ask yourself, does every unexpected expense cause panic for you? Do you have, and unexpected expenses will cause panic for you, most especially when you don't have an emergency fund. And I know that for a whole 1 month, I preached about emergency funds. Is there arguments when children come up and say it's time for school fees in your house? Right? Is there any time does tension arise when money becomes a topic in the house? What are your children seeing? Are they seeing tension, or are they seeing planning, or are they seeing teamwork? Because children learn a very powerful lesson watching how their parents handle money and even difficult seasons. Because they are asking themselves, is money something to fear? Is it something to manage? But your response is what is teaching them. So a lot of times we preach about budgeting, we preach about um, planning, but a lot of times we don't do these things. But one thing we fail to see is that most times we were not able to do these things because we didn't see our parents do them. Our parents did not plan for emergency funds. Our parents actually didn't even budget, most of them, some of them. And we became the person that we are today. If we do not change it, it will also make or determine how our children will become tomorrow. So they remember your reactions to financial problems. The question is, how do you react to financial problems? How do you react to financial problems? Right? Yes, thank you so much. I read the story in the click when you shared about emergency funds helping you to get football boots for your son. That was shared by Madam Linda Oko in cohort 1, right? It would have become a financial problem, let's say, for example, if Madam Linda did not have emergency funds. That's why sometimes parents are angry when some things come up, unexpectedly. And I've told this story here before about how my own father, those days, when you bring up this certain these things, you've got him in the wrong mood. But the truth is, if that is what your children are seeing, they are likely going to become that way. And then you're going to put them through the process of trying all over again to heal from that inherited trauma to become a better person when you can prevent it from yourself. Number two, what they remember is that they remember whether money created peace or stress. Some people grow up in homes where money was never discussed. Financial problems is always a source of tension. Money, it's always money, tension everywhere at every point in time. Parents are always arguing about money. Oh, they're arguing about spending. How they did not spend this? How did they spend this? On things like that. Everybody feels anxious whenever money is mentioned. It's either somebody is coming to knock that they've not paid NEPA bill. Money just brings tension. And like I told you yesterday, that I was in a class in Boys Leadership Academy teaching them over the weekend, and a boy said, money brings problems in life. And it is because of his experience. So children remember whether money created peace or stress at home. Children remember the emotional climate around money, because money has an atmosphere. It does. And for some people, the atmosphere around money at home is not good. It's not good at all. It's too cloudy. Number three, they remember the sacrifices. Yes, they do. So a lot of adults today, and that's the reason why if you see certain people do what they do, some people, their motivation in life comes from the sacrifice that they saw their parents make for them. That mother who woke up by 4 a.m. to trade in the market. That father who worked multiple jobs, right? That parent who denied themselves comfort to pay school fees. So those sacrifices can also become part of the child's understanding of life. It can become part of the understanding of what hard work means, what responsibility is, what perseverance is. And sometimes for some people who have been pushed to become who they are today, they did so, or they were able to draw strength from their parents' sacrifice to push themselves to become who they are today. So your children may not remember the exact amount you spent on their education, but they remember that you showed up for them. They remember that you did the best for them. They remember that you had to do 3 jobs for you to be able to give them a better life. They remember. What else do they remember? Number 4, they remember the generosity. They remember the generosity. They remember generosity. Some of us grew up watching our parents feed relatives, help neighbors, support struggling family members, give to the church. Even despite having little, they gave to the church. And those experiences are what what teaches children a lot of things about giving. It helps children to understand that the money that we're making is not just for ourselves. And you see, this understanding is key, even for the blessings of God. Because the money you make, all the money you make, cannot be for yourself. But remember, your generosity must not be uncultured, because we preach that every day here. So some of the most generous adults today were raised by parents who also modeled generosity. Not just parents who talked about generosity. A lot of people talk about generosity, but they do not show it, they don't model it. So we should be able to model it. So if you're not modeling generosity, don't expect to have a child who is going to become generous. Don't expect it. Don't expect to have a child even towards you. Generosity is not just about certain people. So don't think that when you're teaching your children generosity towards others, that towards you to be different. No, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So they remember the generosity. Number 5, they remember financial fear. They remember financial fear. A lot of adults still remember hearing things like, we don't have money. For some people, That I don't have money. That thing brings up a lot of fear in them that most times they don't even want to ask. Some people still remember the fear that came from the things they heard, like things are hard. You know? So those statements often become unconscious beliefs that shape our adulthood. From the fear that money brought to us through certain different means, poverty, struggle, hustle, we became adults who inherited a lot of responses from these things. Children inherit fear of investing. They inherit scarcity mindset. They inherit guilt about wealth. They inherit anxiety about spending. You want to spend money, but your body, they do you somehow to spend it. Just like someone shared in the money click and I shared here. She was supposed to book a flight for their vacation. Everything was planned, already planned. Money was ready. Budget was made. She was supposed to spend about €1,000 to book for this flight. But because of her money anxiety, she felt it was difficult for her to spend that €1,000. So she waited. She waited and until the point where it's now late and she's in a position where she's going to spend more than just €1,000 because it's now late. And she said something. She said, if it had meant spending €200, €100 over a short period of time, I would have been able to spend more than that €1,000. But because of my financial anxiety, it was so hard to bring out that €1,000 at once. Anxiety around spending. And it is rooted in childhood. Or is it guilt about wealth? Yes. You know, when we make certain statements or grow children in an environment where people believe that rich people are dishonest, rich people are wicked. Just like today, in the inner circle, for those who are in the inner circle, when coach was talking about children who are entitled, right? Children who are entitled were raised by parents who are entitled. They were raised by parents who were entitled. So they watched their parents also saying, this uncle did not help me. This uncle did not help. So they also became those children who are always crying foul about who did not help them. They heard from their parents say, these rich people are very wicked. Rich people can never help you. Rich people only care about themselves. Rich people are this, rich people are that. The problem is, even if that child eventually makes money, there's a guilt that comes from becoming rich. Why? Because all the while growing up, all that this child heard was that rich people are wicked, they are this, they are very selfish, they don't do anything for anybody. So now they see themselves rich and they are guilty for being rich. Eventually they become rich and they will become guilty for being rich. They will feel guilty for being rich. Right? So it's important that we understand that these are the things they remember. See, the words that are spoken around money often become the scripts children carry into adulthood. I want to say it again. The words that are spoken around money often become the scripts children carry into adulthood. They often become the scripts children carry into adulthood. There are children that are told. Some people have said that growing up, especially women, that they were told that no matter what you do, you should not be greater than your husband. So somehow, some people have told me somehow for a long period of time, I had to shrink myself because that's what I heard. Some girls were told that all you need to do is to just mind your business, go to school, just focus on taking care of the home. So somehow it shrinked a lot of women from going out to search for wealth. A lot of women unconsciously don't want to become wealthy. Why? Because they have been programmed to think that they don't need to create wealth, that it is meant for their husbands alone to create wealth. It is the words that were spoken to them that became scripts in their adulthood. Because some people have been told that all they need to do is take care of the home. That's their job as a woman. From when they were 2 to when they became 25, every day their mother sang it in their ears. It felt like nothing. It's as if it was nothing, but it became a script that is running a lot of people's adult life today. That's why some women don't really care about becoming. They just want to focus on what they were told they should focus on. So the words spoken around money become the scripts children carry into adulthood. Right? Number 6, yes, I think number 6, if I'm right, is that they remember whether money was discussed openly. They remember whether money was discussed openly. Research consistently shows that parent-child conversations about money strongly influence children's future financial behavior and attitude. So children who have healthy money conversations at home often develop greater financial confidence later in life. Some homes never discuss money. And I'm not joking, it's a taboo. You don't mention money, everything is a secret. There's this secrecy that comes with money in certain homes. Secrets, as in, it's so secret. Money is the most secret thing that you can mention in that home. Nobody talks about money. Right? So children grow up in this type of homes. They're afraid of finances. Anything money, they don't want to hear it. See, the fear that people have around money is underrated. The fear is so much that you spend money, you have a bank alert, you can't open it. You swipe it and close it because you don't want to see it. You're uncomfortable discussing money. Whenever the topic of money comes up, you're just uncomfortable. You don't want to talk about, you're not certain about managing money. Right? But in a home where children are involved in age-appropriate financial conversations, the children develop confidence with money early. They develop early financial understanding. Right? They develop better money habits. And financial understanding is key. It's key. And that's why conversations are important. Conversations are important. When I was reading the story about the football boots, I read the part where she said that the boy said that, oh no, don't worry, mom, I will just make do with what I have. Maybe we'll just give it to a cobbler and fix it. That's a child who has financial understanding. A lot of times, a lot of parents accuse their children of not understanding what is going on in the homes. Meanwhile, they don't have conversations with them. So the child makes a request, but because there's no understanding, there are no conversations. When you say no to the request, they feel bad because they feel you have this money, you don't want to bring it out. I'll tell you a story. And this story was shared to me about 2 months ago. So the woman said she went out with her father on a certain day. That when in their homes, the home where she grew up in Cameroon, she was a Cameroonian, that there was no conversation really about money. But that also wasn't just the problem. So she went out one day and she asked her dad to buy her sweets. And her dad did not buy her that sweet. Her dad said, no, I won't get it for you. And she felt so bad. She felt so bad because she said that she knew that she assumed her father could afford this thing, she could buy it for her, right? And that somehow her father has been saying no to her before, but that particular one struck a chord. That after that day, she said, Coach, I started stealing from my father. That I felt an anger that made me feel like he has it and he never wants to give it to me. And it is because we never have conversations. She said that from that day, she became a child that started stealing. And so many other things that came out of that particular situation, just simply because there were no conversations. Just simply because the father felt I could just say no without telling the child no, okay, this is the reason why we can't have this now. We undermine having conversations with our children. We undermine having conversations. We undermine, we think, and we've had a session for those who joined us late. You can go back, I think January or February, where I talked about having conversations. We feel we shouldn't explain anything to our children when it comes to them, when it comes to conversations. In fact, it's because we don't have conversations, that's why we feel we can't explain anything to them. Daddy, please, can I have this? No. And it ends there. When you say no without an explanation, they create explanations in their head for it. And it can be anything. It can be anything. So when you say no, give them reasons why you're saying no. And most times, why should you know? Why should you know the reason? Why should you not know the reason? Oh, I'm still going to bring back that topic again, and I'm still going to talk about it again before the end of this year. Right? Why should I tell you? Why should I tell them? Why do you need to know? That's where the conversation starts from. We start from them asking questions most times. But because you shut them up, they're not able to get answers. So they start creating answers in their head. That's how the reaction that this woman eventually developed around money. She said even up to when she got married, money was the biggest problem in her marriage, was her finances. That thing created an attitude that she stopped thinking about money management. That from that point onwards, she started spending money recklessly because she felt her father had the money, her father didn't give her. It was a way of payback to the father. But that payback to the father created a pattern in her that till today is affecting her own spending. So she can't keep money. She's always spending money. And it has become a problem even in her marriage. But you know, the thing is, if you're not aware, you cannot stop something. She said, the day she told me, now I know where my money management issue is coming from. I said, now this is the beginning of your healing and your change. Awareness is everything. It's everything. Okay, so Madam Leader shares a comment here. She said, the father of an adult child who lives at home was discussing with me that his daughter spends money on solo trips but cannot contribute to electricity bills. Thank you so much for sharing, man. That is lack of financial understanding. Lack of understanding. And if you check well in such homes, even the father and the daughter do not have conversations about these things. Everything about money is hush hush. Nobody talks about it. Right? Nobody talks about it. They've not really had time to sit down and have the conversation. Financial understanding comes from conversations. And the truth is, if there have been conversations in the past between father and child, if there have been conversations, there would have been understanding. So it would have been automatic sometimes for, the understanding to take root without, the father wouldn't need to ask. Why? Because there's understanding, there's responsibility. That's another thing that comes with having financial conversations. It brings up responsibility as well. What we do not understand is that silence teaches. So most times we want to keep quiet. That father said no to that child for just sweets and kept quiet about it. But that silence taught that child and created her to become a money mismanager until she joined Money Click last year. Silence teaches, conversations also teach. Number 7, they remember what their parents valued. Hey, they remember what their parents valued. They remember what their parents valued. They will remember what you value. What did your family celebrate? Did your family celebrate character? Did they celebrate discipline? Did they celebrate generosity? Did they celebrate education? Or did they celebrate appearance? Or did they celebrate expensive things? Or did they celebrate impressing others? What was celebrated? I've told you a story here before, but I'll tell you the story again so that you see the connection again. I've told you two stories on these live sessions. I've told you the story of, okay, I'll come to the comments later. I've told you the story of a former colleague's dad, right? And this former colleague's dad um, was so rich in the 70s when they were growing up that he does not attend two weddings with the same car. If he's going to attend any wedding you call him for, he comes with a new car. That's how much money he had as at that time. And I also told you that this man today has nothing. Now, I've also told you about a colleague who had to go home after that the mother-in-law died to spend so much money, but he still insisted on spending excessively borrowed money to go furnish a house in his in-laws place just because of a burial and spend lavishly on the burial. This same person is the son of that man that I told you about. So while his father valued appearance, while his father valued impressing others, what the father did not know was that he was impressing upon the subconscious of the son. So when he told me these stories about himself and the time reached for him, it was time for that burial, and everybody that tried to advise him, he said no to the person. I knew where the problem was coming from. It was coming from his blueprints. His blueprint valued appearance. That's why he went to his wife's village, built a house, completed a house. He had started the house before, completed it, furnished to the teeth. When I mean he furnished everywhere, painted, finished up the house, and then the burial was another ceremony on its own. Why? Appearance. Because since that day till now, he has not come back to that village again. So it was all about appearance. It was all about, oh, how will people, my friends in the city who I have shown a certain lifestyle, think of me when they come? And it's all about what people will say. His life is about impressing others. And where did he learn it from? He learned it from his own father, who could not attend 2 weddings without buying a new car for it. So he learned a life of appearance from his own father. He learned the life of impressing others from his own father, subconsciously. So children quickly learn what matters most in the family. What matters most? If status is everything in the family, they grow up believing it's all about money. They feel my worth depends on what I own. That's why it's important for us to correct our own financial ways if we must correct that of our children. Because if you emphasize stewardship, then they'll be learning that money is a tool to build a meaningful life and not just to impress others. Number 8, before I go to number 8, I think I saw a comment that someone shared. Okay, so this is, my son read the book on money management. I had him do a presentation on it to us. Okay, great. We're so impressed by how much he understood what was in the book. I have plans to enroll him for the workshop. Oh, great, great, great. Happy to read this. Great, well done, man. The next, number 8. Number 8, they remember how their parents treated each other around money. They remember how their parents treated each other around money. Children remember how their parents treated each other around money. A lot of adults today, they still remember the money arguments. A lot of adults today still remember the silent treatment. A lot of adults today who give silent treatment in their marriage saw their parents do the same thing. They learned it from somewhere. A lot of adults remember the blame they saw their parents give to each other, the stress. A lot of children also remember teamwork among their parents. A lot of children remember communication among their parents. A lot of children remember shared decision making among their parents. Right? What they see will depend on what they carry on. Those memories shape how they approach money in their own marriages. The memories you have shaped how you approach money in your own marriage. A lot of women who say today, his money is our money, my money is my money. His money is, it is what they saw their own mothers do, their own parents do. That was the financial blueprint, marriage financial blueprint of their own parents. That's exactly what they're practicing. A lot of men who do not want their wives to do anything so that their wives can be, so that they can be in absolute control of their wives. It is what they saw their own fathers do. Right? Children just learn, they don't just learn money management. They learn financial relationships. It is that those financial relationships that determine their money management. The question is, what financial relationship are your children learning from you and your spouse? The next, I think, is number 9. Number 9, they remember how their parents made them feel about money. Some parents made some children feel like they were a burden. Oh, yes. Some parents made their children feel like you are a financial burden to me. Why? Because every request that came from the child was met with a frustration. It was met with serious frustration. So every need of that child felt like a problem. Felt like a problem. Meanwhile, on the other hand, some other children grew up feeling, oh, we may not have much, but we'll figure it out. Because that is what because it came from the response that their parents gave to them. Some parents have made children feel less of themselves because of money. Your child comes to you to ask you for money. You pour all your frustrations for the past 40 years of your life on top of that child because they asked you for money. Even if what the child asked you for money for was something that was wrong, that's where the conversation starts from. That's where it starts from. Right? You must learn how to have conversations. Conversations. Growing up, I had two parents who were on two opposite sides. My father was that person that will pour his frustration on you when you ask for money. And it's not even because he doesn't have the money, but it is because that was the trauma that he inherited as well. But here's the thing, when you ask my mother for money, at the end of the day, the way she will explain to you, you will be very okay. My mother will give you reasons why you shouldn't have it, or reasons why she should give it to you or should not give it to you, and you'll be okay at the end of the day. But those days, I remember, when you ask my father for money, you're already angry by the time you're parting ways. Because it's metted with frustration. And my mother told me something that I never forget. She said that this was the same approach that her own father took. That her father made them have a lot of understanding when it came to finances. And she told us that that was why during the war that they didn't complain at all, because they understood the financial situation of their father at that time. All these things are as a result of conversations. And of course, from this, you already know that my mother was somebody who would have conversations with their child about finances. My father is somebody who would not. So the financial situation may not have been the same for different people from different backgrounds, but the emotional experience is there. And children remember those emotions more than numbers. They remember. You remember how your father responded to you when you asked for money when you were younger. You remember everything. You remember the explanations if you were explained to. You remember the rebuking if you were rebuked. You remember. Your children remember. Right? Number 10, they remember whether their parents enjoyed money. They remember whether their parents enjoyed money. Some parents are so consumed by their financial fear that they never enjoy life. No celebrations, no vacations, no small joys. So your children would learn that money exists only to worry about. Right? Other parents, meanwhile, other children, on the other hand, see parents who enjoy life responsibly. I'm putting in capital letter responsibly, right? Creating memories, expressing gratitude. Children who grow up in homes like this will learn that money is a tool to support a meaningful life. But if children see their parents also enjoy money irresponsibly, they would grow up to also become adults who spend money recklessly. So we must be careful to create a balance. Number 11, they remember your relationship with wealth. Children notice whether you fear money, whether you worship money, whether you use money wisely, whether you are content with yourself. They see it. So your relationship with money becomes one of their first financial classrooms. That's their first financial classroom, right? So many African children grow up watching parents navigate inflation, economic hardship, unemployment, supporting extended family, financial uncertainty. All these experiences shape powerful memories in those children. So some children learn resilience, others inherit anxiety and scarcity. See, the same situation that might have created resilience in one child can also create anxiety or scarcity mindset in another. The same experience, different responses, right? And that is why healing our relationship with money matters a lot, because our children are always watching. They're always watching. They're always watching, right? Children are not just blessed by what we leave behind financially, they are blessed by our character, right? They are blessed by our wisdom, by our examples. Proverbs 27 says, the righteous who walks in his integrity, blessed are his children after him. So they're not just blessed by what we leave behind, they're blessed by our character, our wisdom, our examples. Deuteronomy 6, I think verse 6 to 7 says that these commandments, impress them upon your children, impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home, when you're walking on the road, talk about it. These principles apply to money too. Financial values are taught in every day of life. Stop waiting for a particular time when you would sit and talk about money. Make it random. The questions they ask most times is what brings these conversations. Use this as opportunity to teach. Even when you think your child is making the wrong move with money, use it as a teaching opportunity. Years from now, let me round up because we're out of time. Years from now, your children may not remember your salary. They might not even remember the investments you made. They might not remember what your net worth is today. But they'll remember whether money created fear of peace for you. They'll remember whether generosity was practiced. They remember whether financial problems destroyed or strengthened the family. They remember whether they felt secure. They remember whether money was talked about. And what you taught them about wealth through your actions, they will remember. Right? Because ultimately, children don't remember how much money you had. They remember how money felt in your home. They absorb your relationship with money. So don't think that, oh, giving your children all the best and every the best is you teaching them financial literacy. Making their life better with money doesn't teach them. Your relationship with money is what ultimately teaches them. Right? How they remember the memories of how money felt at home is what they remember. And those memories often become the financial stories that they carry into adulthood. Now, those financial stories form their own money blueprints. It forms their own money blueprints. And that's why it's important, if we know where we're coming from, It's important that we heal or get on the journey to start healing from our financial trauma, right? If you want your children to inherit more than money, if you want them to inherit wisdom, you want them to inherit healthy money habits, emotional confidence, then intentional parenting matters. I'll say it again. If you want your children to inherit more than just money from you, intentional parenting should be a key part of your life. And that's why if you're not in programs, if you're not in communities like TIP, like Inner Circle, there's something that is urgently missing out, right? Because it's a holistic approach. It's a holistic approach. And if you're here too, and you've not registered for a Healing for Financial Trauma course, this is your opportunity to. I think we're just 18 days away for that course. Yes, I think about 18 days to start up the Healing from Financial Trauma course. Right? So if you've not registered, please try as much as possible, get yourself on board. As a Money Click member, you pay 13.5. As an outsider, you pay 75, still early bird. All right? Get yourself in the Money Click program. Sorry, in the Healing from Financial Trauma program. Get yourself in. Get yourself in. Right? You will be wondering, oh, what is it? So just get in first. Or you already know you're coming from a lot, get in. If you're coming from a lot, please get in. Please get in. Get in and register in the Healing from Financial Trauma course. Also, remember that we have our money workshop coming up, our money online boot camp coming up very soon, right? Yes, it's going to come up between 27th of July to 31st of July. So you want your child to be a part of this program, this is the time to bring them in. For 22,500 for a whole week. It runs from it's a whole week, right? All the weekday. All the weekday. Please invest in your children's financial education. Invest in your children. It's important that you invest in your children's financial education. Get your children into the Money Click Kids program. Get them in the Money Click Kids program. The Money Click Kids program runs from January to December every excuse me, to December every year. So we've already started registration into the nurse cohort that was started in December, in January 2027. Get them into the Money Click program. Yes, Money Click to the world. Get yourself also into the Money Click program. Get yourself into the Money Click program. Right? Start changing your mindset towards money. That's the first approach. If you don't change how you think about money, nothing will change for you. So you need to start changing your mindset towards money. And that's what we do in the Money Click, amongst other things. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Thank you for being a part of us today. Remember, we're back here again next week by Wednesday and also on Thursday, right? So see you again next week, Wednesday, when you join us by 12 noon Nigerian time for another very interesting conversation with money. Yes, so thank you and thank you for our Smart Money Kids workshop. It's starting just in about 2 weeks' time or less. Yes, in 2 weeks' time. And please, as much as possible, bring your children to be a part of it. So if the ones that are on holiday, children between 7 to 17 are what we are taking for this particular workshop. All right. So thank you very much and see you all next week. Have a lovely weekend and see you all next week, Wednesday. Those are the March cohorts. We'll see you again on Sunday. Have a good day. Bye bye.
So have you ever wondered why you keep making the same money mistakes, even after reading books, attending seminars, and learning about budgeting and so much more? Maybe you've promised yourself countless times that, oh, this month I'll save, this year I'll invest, this time I'll be more disciplined. Yet somehow you end up repeating the same cycle. What if your problem isn't lack of financial knowledge? What if it's unresolved financial trauma? Financial trauma occurs when painful money experiences create emotional wounds that continue to influence your financial decisions even years later. Perhaps you grew up in a home where there was never enough. Perhaps your parents constantly fought over money. Perhaps you watched the family business collapse. Perhaps you experienced sudden poverty after a period of comfort. That event may have ended, but the emotional impact remained. And today, those experiences may be silently shaping how you earn, how you spend, how you invest, and even discuss money. So many people are trying to solve emotional problems with financial strategies. That's like trying to treat a broken bone with perfume. Until you heal the wound, the symptoms will keep returning. And that is why I created the Healing from Financial Trauma course. Not to teach more budgeting, not to teach more investing, but to help people understand the hidden emotional forces driving their money decisions. Because when healing begins, financial transformation becomes sustainable. If this resonates with you, send us a message. Let's talk about how you can join the Healing from Financial Trauma course. You can just comment healing in the comments. I'll reach out to you with the details. My name is Chukwemeko Yedezi and I'm the founder of the Viral Academy. Bye-bye.